What up, gang? It's your boy Jester James here. So, I'm still working on the camera angles here. I'm still trying to get the setup figured out so it looks like I'm actually looking into the camera and everything, and while I can also read my notes and stuff. So, bear with this video, as I know I'm not really looking into the camera because I'm trying to make sure I can read my notes and stuff. But we're working on it. We changed the angle from the last video upon recommendations. We're close to our face now, so hello on that, making sure that we're center. Thank you to the peeps who hit me up with that and such. But we're improving slowly, but we're not perfect or anywhere by means being decent yet. So bear with me with this video, and next time around we'll be better in the next video. Thanks. What up, friends? It's your boy Jester James here, coming at you with another YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about the supply chain, and more specifically, supply chain attacks. The software supply chain is vulnerable, and every vendor is vulnerable. And that sounds scary, and to be honest, it is. So everyone must do their due diligence. The supply chain is such a hard element to secure because it spreads cross-company, which means when choosing who you work with, it's essential to have an evaluation. Something a lot of people don't regularly think about is that roughly 90% of all applications contain some form of open source code, 11% of which have known vulnerabilities. Attackers are starting to realize this, and as such we're seeing an increase in supply chain threats. So smaller companies need to be extra vigilant as they're developing and hoping for larger clients. How about foreign products? What are some of the chief exporters we know? Who do you think of? I know what I do, and when I look at most stuff, I see made in China. Almost all nation-states, industries, and enterprises are at a potential threat from their respective adversaries, whoever that may be. Let's say the US with China, for example. But also think of the other low-cost subchains companies might be employing. Say when you're choosing the cheaper product or off-brand versus name brand or more expensive product. In some instances, you pay for the quality, right? It's really difficult to tackle securing the supply chain, given how interconnected we all already are. But with awareness, folks who are responsible can start to ask the right questions. Who is in my supply chain? Is my supply chain secure? How do I secure my supply chain? Are my vendors being audited? Should I have an audit? What certifications do the vendors have? What certifications do we have? We folks as consumers do it every day. For example, say I want to buy some ethically made, sustainable, or fair trade clothing. I could go and look for brands and suppliers who are fair trade certified, have USDA certified organic cotton, and whatever other certificates there are out there, from GOTS, the Global Organic Textile Standard, to OEKO-TEX. I'd even look for a Fair Labor Association accreditation. You see, we don't just take things at face value. When it comes to our own supply chain, so we shouldn't be doing anything different for the enterprise. Something I tell my friends and my family a bit too often is question everything. Trust is a luxury I can't afford. Boy, does my mom hate when I say that. But a primary question when auditing potential vendors everyone should ask is, what is the due diligence that's being done with the supplier? What about the production? What about the supplier's production of their product from start to the end development? You want to self-assess and get outside assessments done on your security and others, but obviously from reputable firms. Don't just go to some random company who says they do a penetration test, but what they actually do is run a Nessus or Qualys scan and call it a day. That's not security, that's vulnerability management, which is only a step on the way to security maturity. For cybersecurity, there's a multitude of security maturity frameworks. Frameworks that you can actually get certifications in. For example, NIST 853, ISO 27701, FIPS 140, or PCI DSS for the payment card industry. Those little machines that you put your credit cards in, you insert, you tap, whatever. You want to make sure you deploy some governance around your development cycles. Take software development, for example. A good practice isn't just DevOps, but rather DevSecOps. You put security in there. With many of the attacks today, from Dragonfly attacks to the more recent SolarWinds breach, we've learned that software code signing alone is a poor defense in securing the software supply chain. If you're large enough and have a budget, try to build or buy a SOC through MSS, or try to deploy some behavioral analytics-based threat detection. Last video mentioned FireEye's initial detection of their Sunburnt payloads, and it wasn't any fancy malware. It actually stemmed from them investigating an unusual logon with an unknown device and suspected IP, which led them to the malware. Think of it this way. A credit card company usually flags their card when it sees large purchases on another site. That's because they don't think it's you, but someone using your card. That's why there's a checkbox that says, remember this computer, remember me, and also why companies like Facebook, etc. save your IP addresses and device information in a database and cookie your cache when you're logging into websites. The thing we're repeatedly seeing is high-profile companies being hit with low-profile cyber attacks. Why target a company and try to battle their defenses when you can fight its vendors, who are often smaller suppliers and can't really afford the same level of defenses? Let's infiltrate through that easier attack vector. The best way to defend against this is by developing a secure foundation to begin with, or start to make cybersecurity a focus while acknowledging your risks. Look at your exposure to third-party risk as well. Look at the supplier's security maturity. Run some risk assessments, or even better, leverage monitors that allow you to get insight into your security, governance, compliance, and risk. Hire outside firms or consulting firms that can go and do things like that. Basically, at the core, you want visibility, analysis, and monitoring, and a toolbox of solutions should a problem arise. A prime example is a SOC. It's a great way to help you gain all of that, but it's not foolproof. Nothing is, but at least it gives you the ability to detect the threats. A lot of folks have changed the question of if you're going to get hacked to when you're going to get hacked, which employs a certain realism, but also makes the focus on the remediation and how to spin yourself back up component after a breach. Cyber insurance has gained in popularity, and many folks have started to prioritize backups, leveraging things like redundant load balancers, for example. A prime example is HAProxy, which I made a post about on jamescanada.com. Furthermore, you can go and do things like check out what Google posted on to ease some of the concern of some of their clients. They talk about using defense in depth or security in layers. They go into compliance, incident response, and more on their privacy website for businesses. There's so many things that you can leverage that you can really dive into once you start focusing into cybersecurity and securing your companies. Like making sure you're using encryption and you look at your data at rest versus your data in transit. You've got the CIA triad with confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I can't go over all cybersecurity in just one video. I'll say look into it if you're wondering. Or feel free to @ me, Jester James, that's with 3s. And again, security is hard. Hell, it's expensive, but it starts with awareness and help. And soon, you'll be on your way to security maturity. Securing the supply chains. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, James, we can't do all this. And you haven't even gone into these topics in depth. And that's right. I can't go into the larger topics in depth. Not in one video. But your curiosity is piqued. Go do some research. And no, we can't be secure by ourselves. We can't truly be secure until everyone around us is as well. A company, Dulles in a post, said it best. This isn't something that we can do as individual companies. We need cooperation on all software threats and vulnerabilities across companies and across sectors. We need coordination between vendors, users, and consultants, and we need that cooperation to be in real time, not after the fact. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.